Hare Krishna, good morning.
It's all good. Prabhupada.
Shai Prabhupada, accept my basis, Shai Prabhupada. So, we will start today. We'll discuss Canto 1, Chapter 1, verses 12 to 17. We will continue with the questions by the sages. Jaya Radha Kunya Biham Jaya Radha Kunya Biham Abhyana Vallabha Shivaradha Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Shivaradha Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Sevam Narottanam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jyamudiyayat Nastubhaye Sriya Bhadrasu Nityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavate Uttamaslaki Bhaktir Bhavtanaistike. So, text 12. Sutta Chanasi Bhatram Te Bhagavan Sattvatam Patihi Devakyam Vasudevasya Jatayasya Sikirsaya. Word for word translation. Sutta, O Sutta Goswami, Janasi, you know, Bhadram Te, all blessings upon you. Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Sattvatam, of the pure devotees. Patihi, the protector. Devakyam, in the womb of Devaki. Vasudevasya, by Vasudev. Jataha, born of Yasya, for the purpose of Sikirsaya, executing. All blessings upon you, O Sutta Goswami. You know for what purpose the personality of Godhead appeared in the womb of Devaki as the son of Vasudeva. Purport. Bhagavan means the Almighty God, who is the controller of all opulences, power, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. He is the protector of the pure devotees, although God is equally disposed to everyone. He is especially inclined to his devotees. Sat means the absolute truth, and all persons who are servitors of the absolute truth are called sattvatas. And the personality of Godhead and the personality of Godhead appeared to Devaki, the wife, Mohammedan. Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appeared to Devaki, the wife of Vasudeva. Vasudeva is the symbol of the transcendental position wherein the appearance of the Supreme Lord takes place. Omagyanati mandasya jnansana slakya sakshurmritam yenat Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Chichitaya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svamurpakadamyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeyam Shiru Shiyuda Padkamam Shigum Vaishnavamsa Shirupam Jarjatam Saganaragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savadutam Parjana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sakalita Shivshakam Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jyatpate Gopesha Gopka Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kansna Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanishvri Vishavana Sudhadevi Pranamama Vipri Pankrakauta Visha Kripa Simre Visha Patnam Pavanabhyo Vaishnabhyo Namo Namo Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Srinyavadi Paskachari Desatarani Srila Prabhupada Ki. So we heard that the sages of Namisaranya, they performed their morning duties and they have asked questions reflecting their compassion for the souls in Kali Yuga today. The sages, they could live for 1,000 years, but today, how long do we live? 70, 60, 50 years? Compared to them, we have such a short life, and we are slow in spiritual understanding, in understanding spiritual philosophy. And we are so easily disturbed. So the sages are asking Sutta Goswami, Ekantata, what is the highest welfare? What is the essence of the scriptures? We don't have time to go through all these scriptures. Later on we will have more questions of the sages. We will hear today 2 more questions, but there are 3 more questions in total, 6. So in the middle of the purport of verse 12 here, we see on the screen here, Bhadram Te. Bhadram Te, all blessings upon you. Srila Prabhupada says, this indicates the anxiety of the sages to hear about Krishna. So this is actually the 3rd question of the sages according to the acharyas. It is the 3rd question, although it is not phrased as a question. The sages are saying, you know why Krishna came, so please tell us, why did Krishna come? So we had already 2 questions in verse 9 and 11. But the first was, what is the essence of the scripture? And the second is, what is the highest welfare for the people in general? So the 3rd one is here in verse 12. So they wanted to hear why Krishna comes. And they are giving a hint in the Sanskrit words. There are 2 words in the Sanskrit, and there is a hint why Krishna comes. So you have in the Sanskrit here, Sattvatam Pati. You see that on the screen there? Sattvatam, of the pure devotees, Patihi, the protector. So he's the protector of its devotees. So Krishna comes to protect his devotees. And and also you have the word Vasudev there. That Vasudevasya. So we will hear this word Vasudev of Vasudev, especially in the first and the second chapter again. This refers to Krishna, and also the first verse of the Bhagavatam, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport here that Krishna has these opulences, that power, fame, beauty, knowledge, renunciation, so we won't go into that, but we will hear more about Krishna in the third chapter. That there we will hear all his pastimes, many incarnations, and then we will hear the main verse, Krishna's tu Bhagavam Svayam. So, but how is he the original Bhagavan? So, in text 13, next verse, Tannasussamananam arasyan ganuvagnitam yasyavataro bhutanam ksemaya sabhavaya cha. O Sutta Goswami, we are eager to learn about the personality of Godhead and his incarnations. Please explain to us those teachings imparted by the previous masters, the Acharya. For one is uplifted, both by speaking and by hearing them. Purport. The conditions for hearing the transcendental message of the Absolute Truth are set forth herein. That the first condition is that the audience must be very sincere and eager to hear. And the speaker must be in the line of disciplic succession from the recognized Acharya. The transcendental message of the Absolute Truth is not understandable by those who are materially absorbed. Under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master, one becomes thoroughly purified. Therefore, one must be in the chain of disciplic succession and learn the spiritual art of submissive hearing. So from this it appears that the speaker needs to be in the disciplic succession, and also the hearer needs to be in the disciplic succession. Of course, in the case of Sutta and the sages, they were all bona fide. And here in this verse, the sages are expressing how they are eager to hear. Tana susrusamananam. We heard already in text 2 before that susrushabhi tat kshanat. So susrushabhi by culture, tat kshanat without delay, that and susrushabhi hearing by culture. So also we will hear in the second chapter, verse 16, susrusho shadadanasya. And this susrusho is constantly stressed, is hearing. This is the beginning of spiritual life, hearing. Being eager to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, we should be very eager to hear. Just as one is going to strangle you, you will be very eager to get a breath of air. We should be so eager to hear that if one day goes by and we don't hear Srimad Bhagavatam one day, it's like something is wrong. I'm missing something. I'm missing something in my life. This is how the sages were feeling. This is laulyam, greedy to hear. Rupa Goswami said, if you can get Krishna consciousness, please purchase it by any cost. What is that cost? The cost to get Krishna consciousness is laulyam. According to Rupa Goswami, this is the price. The eager hearing is the result of our chanting. It is the result of our sadhana, of our being in the association with devotees, and we will see that in the second chapter, Sususosha Dadanasya, by serving devotees we get taste, we get the eagerness to hear. Now read. Next verse is an important verse. It stresses how the chanting of the holy name is the basis of the Srimad Bhagavatam. How that is, we will try to understand to this verse and Prabhupada's commentaries. Apana samsritim goram yanama vishvasogrinan tata sadyo vimuccheta yat pibeti svayam vayam. Living beings who are entangled in the complicated meshes of birth and death can be freed immediately by even unconsciously chanting the holy name of Krishna, which is feared by fear personified. Vasudeva, or Lord Krishna, the absolute personality of Godhead, is the supreme control of everything. There is no one in creation who is not afraid of the rage of the Almighty. Great asuras like Ravan, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa and others who were very powerful living entities were all killed by the personality of Godhead. And Almighty Vasudeva has empowered his name with the powers of his personal self. Everything is related to him and everything has its identity in him. It is stated herein that the name of Krishna is feared even by fear personified. This indicates that the name of Krishna is non-different from Krishna. Therefore, the name of Krishna is as powerful as Lord Krishna himself. There is no difference at all. Anyone therefore can take advantage of the holy name of Lord Krishna even in the midst of greatest dangers. The transcendental name of Krishna, even though uttered unconsciously or by force of circumstances, can help one obtain freedom from the hurdle of birth and death. So the appearance of the holy name is the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam. We have here Samsritim Goram. That means horrible material existence. That if we look at our lives before we became Krishna consciousness and we look at our lives of those who are not in Krishna consciousness, then we see very tragic lives. Anyway, there is no need to elaborate on this. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 17, text 22. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita describes there the hope for the people in Kali Yuga. Kali Kale Nama Rupa Krishna Avatar Krishna has appeared in the form of the holy name. Nama hoite hai sarva jagat nistar. It will purify the whole universe. There is no other religion in this age of Kali. In this age of Kali, the holy name of the Lord, the Hare Krishna mantra, is the incarnation of Lord Krishna. Simply by chanting the holy name, one associates with the Lord directly. Anyone who does this is certainly delivered. Nama bino Kali Kale nai dharmana ara Kali Kali Kachehobe Krishna Avatara. In this age there is no religion other than the chanting of the Lord's holy name. But now in this age, how will the Lord appear as an incarnation? Sarva mantra sharanam. The holy name is the essence of all mantras that So it is the purport of all scriptures, the holy name. We heard in the third verse of Srimad Bhagavatam how Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of the cream of the Vedas. So what is the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam? It is the holy name. This is what is said in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Sarvamanta saranam aishastra marma. Srila Prabhupada said one time that all these verses in Srimad Bhagavatam, all the verses, they are mantras. And the holy name is the essence of all mantras. It is the purport of all scriptures. So this is an explanation from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So why is the Hare Krishna mantra the essence of all scriptures? First, it is Krishna. It is non-different. The holy name and Srimad Bhagavatam both are sound incarnations of Krishna. Lord Brahma, after studying the Vedas 3 times, said that this section, this 16-syllable mantra is the essence. Srimad Bhagavatam, that's at near the end, 12.3.51, Kale dosha nidarajan. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to the Transcendental kingdom. The holy name you will find all over in Srimad Bhagavatam. In the middle you have Ajamil, then you have the Narayan Kavacha, which glorifies the holy name. And in the last verse of the Bhagavatam, 12.13.23, that's the conclusion of the Bhagavatam, says, Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sava Papa Panashanam Panamo Dukasamanas Panamo Dukas Tannamami Harim Param. And for my respectful obeisance to the Supreme Lord Hari, the congregational chanting of those holy names destroy all sinful reaction, and the offering of obeisance unto whom relieves all material suffering. So why are the sages glorifying the holy name in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam? Because they are giving us a hint as to the answer of their first question. What is the essence of all scriptures? What is best for all humanity? It is the chanting of the holy name. Sattvatam Pati. Why did Krishna appear? He is Sattvatam Pati. That this is another hint. So we are getting little hints here. Fear personified is afraid of Krishna. So Yamaraj is afraid of Krishna. He tells his Yamadutas, don't go near to those devotees. Take those who never chant the holy name of Krishna. So Yamaraj appeared in this world as Vidura. And Vidura was always thinking how to protect them. We will see in the 16th chapter of this cantos that the sages will invite Yamaraj for their kata. That interesting, because Yamaraj, he likes kirtan, and he likes to make sure that we are all safe while listening to Srimad Bhagavatam. So the sages invited him, because Yamaraj, he likes to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, he's a devotee. So we want to chant the name with great attraction and taste. And how to do this will be explained in next verse. But before we go to next verse, I remember Bhakti Charamraj saying that, yes, because a devotee asked the question, what if I still go to Yamaraj? And Bhakti Charamraj said, if you go to Yamaraj and you see Yamaraj, he will have tilak on his forehead. What will you say? You will say Hare Krishna. And Yamaraj, he will immediately see that you are a devotee. And he will invite you to your house to hear and read Bhagavatam. That was his answer. So we don't need to be afraid from Yamaraj. He's a Mahajan, that we want such association. A devotee is not afraid from Yamaraj. Text 15. Yat pada samsaya sutta muneo pashamayat yana satya punat upasprishcha svardunapi nusevaya. O Sutta, those great sages who have completely taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord can at once sanctify those who come in touch with them, whereas the water of the Ganges can sanctify only after a prolonged use. So a little further in the purport near the end, there it is said, the sincere disciple of the pure devotee considers him equal with the Lord. But the pure devotee always considers himself to be a humble servant of the Lord. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 1380. This is the pure devotional path, Srila Prabhupada writes. So this is also the mood and attitude of the hearers of Srimad Bhagavatam. When Maharaj Pariksit heard that he was cursed to die in 7 days, he gave up his kingdom and went to the Ganga to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, to fast and hear Srimad Bhagavatam. He was a completely surrendered soul. May Mother Ganga accept me in this way, he said. Let the snake bite me, that I want only to hear the glories of Lord Vishnu. So when Sukadev Goswami came, he said, O Brahmins, O Brahman, by your mercy, you have purified me. You have made me a place of pilgrimage. So that is, This is what Maharaj Pariksit said to Sukadev Goswami. You made me a place of pilgrimage. And he thought himself unfit to be a servant of the Vaishnavas. Maharaj Pariksit was a Mahabhagavat, a ruler of the world, and he thought himself unfit to be a servant of Vaishnavas. So what a mentality that these qualities you don't see in the world leaders today. Certainly not. The opposite, you see. So Maharaj Pratiparudra, the Lord Chaitanya did not want to see him because he was a king. Then Pratiparudra gave up his kingly dress and put on the dress of a humble Vaishnava. He went and massaged Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet. And then Lord Chaitanya asked him, "Who are you?" Pratiparudra said, "I'm the servant of your servant." This verse explains how powerful it is to serve the devotees of the Lord. Prahlad Maharaj, when he was offered a benediction by Lord Nrsimhadev, he did not want it. "I've seen my father," he said. "He had everything, and you took it away in a second. What is the use of these things? Why are you asking? Just let me have the chance to be the servant of your pure devotee." That is in Srimad Bhagavatam 7.9.24, and in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, by studying Srimad Bhagavatam, even intelligent man can get experience like that of Prahlad. Every intelligent man can get experience like that of Prahlad Maharaj through the historical incidents mentioned in this great literature of spiritual knowledge. by following in the footsteps of Prahlad Maharaj, one should gain through experience that all material opulence is perishable at every moment. So to save oneself, one must take shelter of a pure devotee. In the beginning of the purport of text 15, Srila Prabhupada writes, "Pure devotees of the Lord are more powerful than the waters of the sacred river Ganges." One can derive spiritual benefit out of prolonged use of the Ganges waters, but one can be sanctified at once by the mercy of a pure devotee of the Lord. In Bhagavad Gita it is said that any person, regardless of birth, as Sudra, woman or merchant, can take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord and by doing so return back to Godhead. Then Srila Prabhupada explains that taking shelter of the Supreme Lord means taking shelter of pure devotees. Pure devotees are always at the lotus feet of the Lord. Then I have a quote from the Bhagavatam, 9th canto, but I didn't note down the verse, but it's probably in chapter 9. Bhagirath Maharaj had on great austerities to take Gangamata down to earth. And she becomes pleased with him. But she said, "I won't come," the Ganga said, "because there are too many sinful people who will bath in my waters. Sinful people, and I will become impure. And I will be full of sinful reactions and I will not be able to get rid of them." But Bhagirath Maharaj said, "Don't worry. When the pure devotees will take bath in your waters, they will take away all the sinful reactions." So the pure devotee has that power. He can purify even a holy place. In the purport, there is the name of Srila Prabhupada. The pure devotee whose only purpose is serving is honored with the name Prabhupada or Vishnupad. This indicates that such pure devotees are representatives of the lotus feet of the Lord. So this, I have a quote here from Mother Narayani. Mother Narayani, Prabhupada disciple. She was the first head pujari in Calcutta in the beginning of the 70s. So, and was for many years in Vrindavan. So she says, in the beginning of the Krishna conscious movement, they were calling Srila Prabhupada Swamiji. That because I think it's in the purport here. I highlighted on the screen here. The pure devotees whose only business is serving are honored by the names Prabhupada and Vishnupad, Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport. And she's commenting on that. So Srila Prabhupada said to his secretary Govinda Dasi, "Swamiji is a third-class address." Govinda Dasi replied, "Really? What should we call you?" The spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada said, the spiritual master is usually addressed as Gurudev, Vishnupad or Prabhupada. Then Govinda Dasi said, "May we call you Prabhupada?" Srila Prabhupada said, "Yes." So then we start calling him Prabhupada. And here he mentioned it also in the purport, but we didn't catch it. It took a while for devotees to realize what we were supposed to be doing, she said. He had to teach us everything. In verse 16, we will hear more about the eagerness of hearing the glories of the Lord. Gova Bhagavatastasya Punyaslokedya Karmana Sudikamana Shruchinuyat Yasa Kali Malapam. Who is there desiring deliverance from the vices of the age of quarrel, who is not willing to hear the virtuous glories of the Lord? So who are these people? We heard of them before. Who will not hear Srimad Bhagavatam? The killers of the animals, those who don't have pious credit, no Ajnata Sukriti. Down here we see in the purport that the leaders of the people are very much anxious to live in peace and friendship, but they have no information of the simple method of hearing the glories of the Lord. So Mother Narayani shared the following. She said, when we first came to India in 1972-73, then we had a small temple in Juhu, Bombay. There was just a tent, and there were no loudspeakers. We used to have Mangalarti under the stars, and it was very quiet, but still there were complaints. Kirtan is a nuisance. They complained, and one of the political leaders from Bombay came to Srila Prabhupada and said, your Kirtan is a nuisance. Srila Prabhupada said, just see. This is the nature of the leaders today. When Srila Prabhupada started in New York 1966, it was the same problem. This Kirtan, they said, is a nuisance, waking us up so early in the morning, and they were right in the congestion section of New York City. Yeah, if you have been in 26 Second Avenue, the traffic is very heavy, and big trucks are passing with horrible sounds. And Srila Prabhupada said, this sound they can tolerate, but Kirtan is intolerable. This is Kali Yuga. So we continue here. That, in other words, the foolish leaders want to completely deny the existence of the Lord in the name of secular state. Such leaders are enacting various plans every year, but by the insurmountable intricacies of the material nature of the Lord, all these plans for progress are being constantly frustrated. They have no eyes to see that their attempt at peace and friendship are failing. But there is the hint to get over the hurdle. If we want actual peace, we must open the road to understanding the Supreme Lord Krishna and glorify him for his virtuous activities, as they are depicted in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, in Chicago in 1975, the chief police came to visit Srila Prabhupada. And he asked Srila Prabhupada, what can we do about crime? Srila Prabhupada replied, if you give us facility, then we will make all prisoners chant Hare Krishna. We will make all the people chant Hare Krishna and they will become purified. And then there will be no more crime. Then he met the mayor of Evanston, Illinois in America. And we had a temple there. So the devotees arranged for Srila Prabhupada meeting the mayor. At that time, we didn't have a proper building for our temple. So Srila Prabhupada was talking to the mayor of Evanston, and at that time, they had just got a new building, the city hall. That is where the government of the city was meeting. Srila Prabhupada said, why don't you give us your building, your city hall, and we will use it very nicely. But the mayor said, yeah, we just got it. He was very polite, but he refused to give the city hall to Srila Prabhupada. But Srila Prabhupada asked. So when Krishna was on the planet, the Yadus went to the heavenly planets and they took Indra's assembly house for Krishna. Because for Krishna they wanted to have the best of things. So Srila Prabhupada was thinking very big here. Here is a hint to go over the hurdle in this verse, glorifying Krishna. I've here an extract from Back to Godhead. And that is a prisoner who came in contact with the ISKCON prison ministry. From Back to Godhead. We can stop crime by this Krishna conscious movement. This is a letter section from an old Back to Godhead. It is from a prisoner in America. As a prisoner, an inmate in the Wisconsin correctional system, I've been very fortunate to become involved with the ISKCON prison ministry, he writes. By the association of devotees, my old world and understanding have been shaken and turned upside down, leading me in the light of truth and bhakti. I humbly thank them for Srila Prabhupada's books and issues of Back to Godhead, which have been beneficial to me beyond their knowing. I have a longing for India to seek out all the holy places, but right now I'm able to do that right here, where through the articles of Back to Godhead. I consider it a blessing to have been in contact with ISKCON and Back to Godhead magazine. They both have changed my life forever. So this is how we can get peace in this world. Even prisoners can appreciate this knowledge of Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. So this is the proof of what Srila Prabhupada is saying. Actually, we can change the hearts of people. Every living entity is a devotee of Krishna. We just need a reminder, and they will remember. The last verse for this section is the fourth question of the sages, which we hear in the next verse. This is the last verse for today. Tasya karma nudarani parichitani shuribihi punnina shadadananam lilaya dahata kala. Its transcendental acts are magnificent and gracious, and great learned sages like Narada sing of them. Please therefore speak to us who are eager to hear about the adventures he performs in his various incarnations. So they are begging Sutta to speak about incarnations of Krishna. So according to Burijan Prabhu and the Acharyas which he had studied, this question refers to the Purusha incarnations. So out of all incarnations, we have 6 prominent kinds of incarnations. We have the Purusha avatars, we have the Lila avatars, the Guna avatars, the Manvantars, the Jyuga avatars, and the Sakti-Avesa avatars. So this answer on this question will be given at the end of the 2nd chapter. So this, in the purpose of this verse, Srila Prabhupada gives a nice analogy. This is about 10 lines down. The material creations are manifested for some time as perverted shadows of the spiritual kingdom and can be likened to cinemas, Srila Prabhupada says. So if you study this, then you will find many analogies. First of all, the world is perverted. That comparing the material world to a perverted reflection of a shadow of reality, a cinema, a movie house. That further in the purport, they attract people of less intelligence caliber. That so let's see. There. Let's see where it is. Here. They attract people of less intelligent caliber who are attracted to false things. Such foolish men have no information, and they take it for granted that the false material manifestation is all in all, but the intelligent man guided by sages like Vyasa and Narada, know that the eternal kingdom of God is more delightful, larger and eternally full of bliss and knowledge. So when you are seeing a movie, then you start identifying with the actors. You get into the story. Then the story becomes your story. They cry, you cry. They laugh, you laugh. They get in trouble and you feel bad. So this is how it is. But when the show is over, then we remember who we are and we assume our responsibilities. So similarly, in the material world, it's like a stage. We are the star in the show. So every morning we wake up. We wake up and we think ourselves the star of the show, the center, and we are making our own home video in the cinema of the material world. We have forgotten our real identity. We are planning the roles assigned to us. We could be a hog, we could be a dog, a minister, a rich man, a poor man. And who is the director of this drama? The super soul is such an expert director so that he makes you forget who you are so that you can play the role perfectly. Because if we remember that we are a servant of the Lord, how can we be the enjoyer? Krishna says, Sarvasyam Redishani Vijam, Matashmiti Ganan Apamsa. Gives knowledge, remembrance, forgetfulness, is the director of our drama. Srila Prabhupada says, the super soul is the director of the drama. He makes us forget who we are. So this is very interesting. In the purport of the Chatur Sloki, Srila Prabhupada calls material nature a dazzling reflection where even dead matter is caused to move by cooperation of the living energy of the Lord and the material world, and it appears as a dramatic performance to the ignorant eye. The ignorant person may even be a scientist or physiologist in the drama of Prakriti, while the same person knows Prakriti as the illusory energy of the Lord. The same person knows it is a drama. But the problem is that we are so absorbed in our world of the drama, and therefore we forget the real world and what is our purpose in the real world. So the Lord has sent us guides to get us out of this perverted shadow, this drama, this cinema. Srila Prabhupada said, the intelligent person will follow the guides out of the cinema. Therefore, Srila Vyasadeva has given us this Bhagavatam, this torchlight, to get us out of this world of shadows, back to the substance. Let us take advantage and relish this wonderful gift that he has given. Follow Srila Prabhupada, Sukadev Goswami and Srila Vyasadeva out of this world. So that is the end of today's section. But there is one thing more I want to show you, and that's coming right now here. Yeah. So these are the 6 questions of the sages from the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So we discussed these 3 in red today. You should tell us who desire to hear the purpose of Krishna's appearance from Devaki. Second question was, describe the pastimes of Krishna, who has all the avatars within him. And the third is, describe the stories of the avatars. And then next time we will hear about the last question. Any questions, comments?
Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please
Hare
take a
Krishna.
moment.
My obeisance, Jai Prabhupada.
I I like your comment about the movie idea, how we see cinema or shows and we get engulfed in them. And I remember Amy Davey mentioning how they become a part of your mind, to start to think that that's what you are, or you get too involved mentally in it, and it can like linger throughout the day instead of, you know, what's really happening to you. Go back to that story periodically. So how much nicer would it be to just, you know, read about Krishna's pastimes instead and go back to that story instead? It would be much healthier for the mind, much more,
Mm-hmm.
you know, not so troublesome, you know, because of the anarthas, the violence or the silliness or whatever it is, gets ingrained in your consciousness, and that's kind of following you all the time. So, and you associate with those characters. You start to think that they are you, or you are like that, or, you know, you become so involved with these people. Initially, when she said that, I thought, oh no, that's not true. But
Yeah.
later I realized, yeah, that is really true.
Yeah, I'm preparing a lecture with the title The Power of Identity. And I think that is what it is about, really what Krishna consciousness is about. Because Krishna says, Mamaivam Sushi Veluka Shiva Bhutana Sanatana. We are part and parcels of Krishna, but we think ourselves part and parcels of this world. And that's the wrong identity. So that is what has to change. We have to act as a servant of Krishna, as a spirit soul, and not as a servant of our material desires, thinking that we are the body. So it's a change of our identity, that we have to come back to our real identity. And that solves the problems. And the Bhagavatam teaches us how to act in our real identity. Acting in our real identity means acting in devotional service, always. That if we are not acting in devotional service, then we are in the illusion, in the cinema, as Srila Prabhupada explains here. And it's a very important point, yes. I remember when I was in Italy, that's I think 98 or something, I was with Guru Maharaj in Italy, Ticino, we had a restaurant at that time there, and we had classes there. I was a bhakta, and yeah, and my our god brother Vishweshwar Prabhu was with me, and his health was not good. That and Guru Maharaj instructed him directly what he should do when he suddenly leaves his body. He said that you should think, I'm not his body at the time of death. I'm not his body. So this was quite a direct instruction. We may not be very spiritually advanced, but that at least we can, that consciousness, that awareness that we have to cultivate. Always, we are not his body. If I act as his body, it's all cheating. Thank you. That's very kind. Good comment. Anything else?
One more. Hare Krishna, Dandavad Pranam Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
That sloka 1114, Apanna Samsutim
Yeah.
Gauram Nam.
Yeah.
In that, it said like even unconscious chanting will protect us from the fear personified, but we always talk about the offenses, 10 offenses. So always, in Bhagavatam, my intention is not to chant offensive chanting, but even somebody who is unconsciously saying the words of Lord is so powerful. I just want to hear from you how we should understand that 1140.
Yeah, in that unconscious chanting means chanting the names of the Lord accidentally, without knowing that it's the name of the Lord. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he explains this and says if one chants that without offenses, because if one is not aware of it, then one does not make offenses either. That's interesting. And he gives the example of the Muslim who is dying. He had been attacked by a boar, and his abdomen was pierced by the tusk of the boar, and he's dying. And he's saying, Aram, Aram, Aram. Aram in Persian means it's horrible. But Ha-Ram, Hare Rama, it's two names of Krishna. And then Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur said he got liberation because he was purified. So powerful it is. But if we chant the holy name and we have an offensive mentality, we don't respect the holy name, we don't believe in his powers, that we don't follow the instructions of the spiritual master, that we don't accept the Vedic literature, we make offenses towards devotees, then by these offenses the heart will not become purified by the chanting. But this Muslim who was dying did not make these offenses. He was not aware of all this. He was just calling Aram, and Ajamil did the same thing. He was calling his son. Therefore it was purifying him. That it will not give him love to God of Godhead, no, but it will purify one. To develop love of Godhead, you must become purified first. So that's then one can the chant the holy name becomes Sudanam in Harinam Santamani. It is the pure name, and then one will develop love for Godhead. So that does that help?
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So
Hare Krishna Maharaj, if you have time, I wanted to ask one question.
yes, okay.
Thank you for the nice explanation and lecture, Maharaj. Maharaj, about this concept of understanding material world as a movie. So sometimes then we may feel casual because anyway it is part of a movie. So why we should bother much? So how to orient ourselves correctly so that we understand this is a movie, but we have a higher purpose.
Yeah, it's a movie, and it's illusory in the sense that it is temporary. It's a temporary situation. But it's not that this world is illusory. But the illusion is that we take the world as permanent, and we take the world as related to our real self. We think ourselves part of this world, and that's illusion. So illusion is that and acting responsibly in this world, although acting responsible means come out of this illusion and act as a servant in this world of the spiritual master, spreading Krishna consciousness. That is our business. That's our real business in this world. that pleasing the spiritual master by spreading Krishna consciousness and lead others out of the cinema. That let them come to their senses, understanding I'm not this body. I have nothing to do with this world. That because when I came to Krishna consciousness, I was surprised because after a few years I started to understand everything what I am thinking that I was, my thoughts about my identity before becoming Krishna conscious, everything what I was thinking that I was, it will end. That means for the materialistic people, death is real, because everything what they think they are will be finished. But then I discovered, oh, I'm the consciousness. There is another level of existence, the real level of existence. And that opens the many doors that then we can understand the way out. So yeah, does that help?
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah, thank you. And Maharaj, thank you for that explanation. And one last question, if you have 1 minute, Maharaj.
Yeah.
This is about the verse 15. How to understand, because it does mention whereas the waters of the Ganges can sanctify only after
Yeah.
prolonged use.
Yeah. Yeah, the waters of the Ganges, to purify yourself, it takes a whole time. That you have to bath every day, that it takes a long time. But just by hearing the Bhagavatam, by hearing the words of a sadhu, can purify you very quickly. And it said these sadhus these bona fide spiritual masters can even purify the holy places. It's much more powerful. So it's a question of power of purification. So therefore this hearing of the Bhagavatam is very important. It's much more purifying than bathing in the Ganga. Does that help?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you very much.
So I look forward to see you in 2 weeks from now, because next Tuesday I'm flying, but then the next morning at 5:30 I have a meeting for 1 hour with the sannyas ministry till 6:30, and then at 8 o'clock I have the class in Montreal. Technically, I could put between the class, but it would be too much.
Yes,
But,
yes.
I also have to chant rounds and so on, and I will be certainly jet lagged. But anyway, we try our best. So in 2 weeks I'll be there again, and we continue. I asked Bhakta Samuel Prabhu to put it in my schedule, so should be okay. It is the 3 first Wednesdays from October. I'll be with you again. Thank you.
Maharaj.
Hare
No,
Krishna.
thank you very much, Maharaj.
Thank
Taking
you very
Sai.
time for us.
Hare Krishna. Jai Prabhupada.
Jai Shri Maharaj. Jai Gurudev. Hare Krishna.